We are back to Endless Topics. This is Myron, and my co-host Sterling couldn't make it today, but he'll be back next episode. And we have a special guest with us today. Special guest, Daniel Locke, the president of Compassion Alternative Care. And when I spoke with him, I knew he had to be on the show because he had so much energy and so much knowledge of the things and awareness of things that we need to know and needs to be shared among the people. And we are that show. So we have to bring Daniel Locke to the show. And we want him to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm absolutely honored to be here. And so I'm a native of Jacksonville, Florida. Spent about the first half of my life growing up in on the north side over up a Lynn Turner Road.
Okay.
And I'm a Riverview boy at heart.
Okay.
And then we had a little culture shock. My mama moved us to the south side. Between 12 and 13. And it was, we lived in the poor people apartments. Now, don't get me wrong, but we lived amongst the rich folks. Okay. So, I got a little different environment. I got to know kind of, survival and how to be kind of tough on the north side.
Right.
When I was on the north side, I tell people, I joke, I was just an okay ball player out at North Jacks.
Right.
Right. I was just okay. I started and all. Right. Man, we moved to Mandarin. Dude, I was a middle linebacker and a quarterback. Now, you ain't never. I went from walk around school making, I was an athlete, so I didn't get messed with too much,
right.
Even in Highlands and what have you.
Right.
But shoot, I went from the north side to the south side, and it was quite the culture shock, especially now we're talking late 70s, early 80s. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then shortly after that, I went straight from high school, from Wolfson High School, went to, I was in the Navy 2 weeks after I graduated high school.
Wow.
Wanted to go to Special Forces. So I, became a search and rescue swimmer.
Okay.
And that is, because I know we're getting into how did I get to the cannabis world?
Right.
I remember the day that I obtained PTSD in search and rescue school. I mean, I know it to the day.
Right.
I know it to the day because I know that my things changed in my life just like that.
Right.
I went from, and I still love everybody, don't get me wrong, but I went from, everything cool to just that, that hairline
right.
trigger.
Right.
Right. That's known as PTSD. Now, we didn't know what PTSD was.
Of course.
We didn't go to the doggone. There was none of that exists.
Right. It's a lot of things that were known about, but basically we didn't have the information to do anything about
it. That's exactly right. That's exactly. So I don't know if they knew about it. We just didn't talk about it. I don't, but I know as, thank God with the, with the information age and what have you, we're all a little bit more aware of things in life. And, but I didn't learn about PTSD till I was a grown man. I just thought people normally act kind of, I've been blessed. God gave me a gift that I just love everybody. I just truly do. But the military gave me a gift where I flipped that switch in a half a second. Right. So I've had to learn. So what happened, I was actually in the military and I was in France.
Mm-hmm.
Smoked a joint with some folks over there,
in France.
In France. Well, yeah. It was, and it, I can't explain it, but it just changed. I went from ready to fight everybody, and I called it, showing everybody how north side I was, right, to, just being a little bit more relaxed and chilled. So didn't know it. Big cannabis was controlling my PTSD to make me a human that people could stand being around.
Legally, but confusing. Florida weed, stop and sniff, everything that's going on in Florida. We are trying to be a medicinal weed state of marijuana. I ain't gonna say marijuana. In this, it's like a mixed bag. how do you see it happening? And like, for because me and you had a talk, and that's what brought us to this point.
Correct. Well,
and you had some awareness points on the stop and sniff. So can you give your awareness
absolutely,
point?
Absolutely.
Give your awareness point.
Right. So one of the things from the start, as it pertains to legal and what have you, okay? So what the big Florida is run by big corporation cannabis. If you ain't big corporation, you're not in the business.
Right.
Let's just get that straight.
Right.
Okay. So everything that's done.
Yeah, we gonna say that.
Okay.
For a little later because that's deep.
So what happens is this: there's only certain municipalities or they're the ones who make things not legalized but decriminalized.
Right.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
What decriminalized means, like if we're in Orlando, I get pulled over with less than 20 grams of cannabis, I'm going to get a $75 ticket.
Right. Supposedly.
Not supposedly, by municipality law.
So if they do anything else?
They can't do nothing else.
Okay.
They're not allowed to.
Okay.
Okay? They're not allowed to. They've taken that out of their hands. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you go anywhere north of Gainesville, you got Gainesville, Daytona, Orlando, there's not one municipality that is decriminalized cannabis. So what that does is that gives the police officer they get to make the decision. Do you get a ticket or do you go to jail?
Right.
So let me tell you what's still happening. I'm still getting a ticket and you're still going to jail. Called stop and sniffs. They strong and steady, baby. I've had 5 medical cannabis patients go to jail this year alone. All young black men. Medical cannabis patients. All young. Let's just be real. Okay, I'm gonna give you the facts. Okay,
let me hear the facts.
Yes, sir. So here's the deal: 25% of arrests last year in the state of Florida were cannabis. Here's what you don't hear about. People always talk about, oh, what a big pharma don't want it to go recreational. Big alcohol don't want alcohol. That's nonsense. They now in it. You go in the liquor store, you can buy cannabis drinks all day long. So quit with that nonsense. Okay, big pharma. You know who it is. You know who they don't talk about. The industrial prison industry, baby. That's what they don't talk about. Why do you think that cat down there on 301 and Stark got him on the black sheriff talking about, yeah, it's time to go recreational. You know why? They ain't decriminalizing in Stark. They already make their money on speed traps.
So
when you get stopped for going, and I smell weed too. I get a double charge.
So what's the awareness that you told me that they should do?
So here's what I have to. And first of all, I tell everybody, I don't care if they got grandkids or whatever. When they come in my door, I teach them this.
Right.
I teach them this. Here's what you do. First of all, don't ever smoke in your car. Mm-hmm. I'm just begging you first, but I'm also a realist. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you got to be here's my favorite thing I want to say, but I'm also a realist. Okay, let's just say he pulls you over, young black man. Okay, and he says, I think I smell cannabis. Well, he gonna say marijuana. Yeah. Only experts use the word cannabis.
Right.
I can explain that later. But anyway, that's how you know an expert versus somebody else. They call it marijuana.
Right.
Okay. It's a racist term. I'll break that down later. But anyway, here's what happens. I tell them this: keep your hands on the wheel. Keep your cards up on your visor. Now, I'm begging you. Keep it in the package it came from. But these young kids, I'll be honest, they got to be cool.
Right, of course.
Okay. But keep it in the bag that it came from in the dispensary. I don't care what you got in there. Okay? I don't care if that bag's 6 months old and you know what I'm saying. Right? But here's what I tell them. Yes, sir, you do smell cannabis. And here's why. I have my medical cannabis card. It's above my visor. If you want to grab it, sir, please grab it. Okay. Here's what happens. Okay. There's 2 laws. The state law says I can only use my medicine at my home. Mm-hmm. Now, my home, I got my mama's laws. You ain't smoking that stuff in my house, and you ain't standing in the front yard letting our neighbors think you a dang druggie. So guess what? I have to get in my car and use my medicine, sir. It's always going to smell like this. When was the last time you used it? Guess what that answer always is? Anytime you inhale cannabis, scientifically, you're only stoned for 2 hours.
Right.
Whatever that number is, make it 4 or 5 hours ago.
Right.
All right, if you have to.
Right.
I have to teach young folks.
And that's awareness because in Jacksonville, in Florida, like you said, in certain parts of the area, you gonna get stopped.
Yep.
Anyway. And you gonna get the stops and sniff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the stop and sniff is always gonna be
right
in the car. You're gonna smell it so
that's correct.
And when you told me that, I was like, a lot of young people need to hear this.
Yes, sir. Yes,
because
that's why I'm so honored to be here. Yeah.
They're gonna go and they're gonna be, I got my car. But in the same sense, you need to be aware of, even though you have your card, you can still present it in a nice, presentable way.
Right. And listen, I tell them all the time, does that mean you ain't going to jail? I don't know. I ain't going to promise nothing.
Yeah.
I can tell you this, you probably got a better chance with the judge, but here's what they're really doing. If you've got a medical cannabis card, they're still arresting young black men. They're just letting them go the next day, dropping the charges. But you still went through the hustle. You still hired an attorney. You still...
If I had a medical card and they arrested me, I would feel like the system failed me.
The system is failing you right now, every day. I'm here to tell you, the system is failing you right now, every day. And people aren't aware of this. This is not the stuff that people want to listen. I've tried to talk to every politician. I've reached out to them. Man, I keep receipts too, man. Jimmy Paluzzo, he's in my district. I sent Jimmy, I want to talk to you about what's going on with cannabis. You know, as the reply was, well, I don't really do it. I don't care if you do it or not. That ain't what I'm here to talk about. But then every time Donna's cutting a ribbon, there he is smiling. I'm like, yeah, man, come on, man. Believe it or not, Matt Carlucci did have me in his office. Mm-hmm. Okay, I was able to have this conversation. Right. Donna Deegan, she's dissed me. Ken Amero's dissed me. I sat in Angie Nixon's office over in Tallahassee and talked to Miss Janice for over an hour. Never got back with me. Okay. Mm-hmm. Kimberly Daniels. We share a same, we were both in the same office, right? So she was decent enough. And I caught her walking in the door. I said, Miss Daniels, can I please talk to you about this cannabis situation? Come on, baby. I got a minute. And she did. But then she said, I need to get you in front of the Black Caucus. Okay. After I tried to reach back out. This just ain't a politician thing.
I'm going to stop you because we ain't ready for that right
now.
We going to have to lead them into that.
Okay, gotcha.
They ain't ready for that.
Now. Okay.
So we're going to come back.
Yes, to answer your question, that's where we are.
So if you was to say, what would be your, let's say, the pros and cons to getting a medical marijuana card? If I was saying, you know what, I want to smoke and I want to be legal.
Sure.
I don't want to. What would be the pros and cons? Because you just said if I still stop, I still could go to jail.
Correct.
So what would be my pros and cons on that?
Well, the pro would be as long as it's not smelling, you know, like fire. Okay. And you just had it in your possession.
If I just transport it.
It was in a package from the dispensary with your name on it.
And I just smoked it outside of my car in a place where they couldn't smell it.
Right. Okay.
That would be one of them.
That would be one of the pros. Yeah. Okay. And then, you know, there's a good chance that if that's the situation, you're not just rolling with a blunt.
Right.
You know, you just got your package and you can still smell it. I mean, when you buy it from a dispensary, even in that bag, you can smell it in my car right now. Right. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but then that's the pro. That's the simple pro.
Well, what would be, you say, cons? Because, and this is something that I kind of want to touch on, but I don't want to get too deep in.
Yeah.
They wanted to legalize it and make it recreational. In Florida.
Yes, sir.
And I voted no.
Okay. You're a smart man.
I voted no because I felt as though, like you said, the corporations and the higher people wanted to monopolize and keep it to only they would make the money. Nobody could make the money. When I was in Boston, Massachusetts, I saw a recreation and I read the laws.
Right.
One of the laws were you could have up to 13 plants.
Sure.
You could own up to 13 plants. Here, no such law. So
not part of the new law either that they're trying to push.
Right. So like that seems like a con to me.
It is absolutely a con. Here's the things that I ask people to look for. Okay. Until you see inclusion, okay, small business inclusion, until you see decriminalization. Now, here's the bad thing, bro.
That's the first
What
thing.
they do, though, here's the thing. They use minorities and they're not selling out. They're taught that, hey, you know what they're taught? Okay, well, yeah, well, as soon as we get it recreational, then we can work on all that other stuff. Sounds like some stuff Martin Luther King used to listen to, right? Don't give them the golden egg till you got to see it at the table.
Right. Why would we, and some people not reading the laws as a younger generation. I talked to one of the generations and he told me, man, as long as I can smoke legally, I would feel fine with that. And I was like, what? I was like, that's all you thinking about? Is just being able to smoke legally? That you would be fine with that? What about making money? What about entrepreneurship? What about anything for as that? Well, no, I just want to smoke.
Right.
So that just seems like they're hitting the younger generation, the ones who smoke the most, supposedly.
Yeah. That's who they market to.
Right.
That's who they market to.
Right.
If you've ever been into a Florida dispensary, that's who they market to.
Question.
Yes.
Good. Glad you said Florida dispensary.
Yes.
So I just want to touch on it.
Sure. I won't go too deep. I just
what's the difference between going to dispensary, getting really what you need?
Right.
Because so I'm gonna just put it out here.
Sure.
When I came to see you, you gave me some topical. And I gave it to my aunt, and it relieved a very, very harsh pain she had. And it's not, people don't understand that really works.
Right.
You understand? Like that's really something that happens.
Right.
And I've talked to other people and they're like, yeah, man, that works. Yeah. Other people now are coming around hip to, yeah, man, that works.
Right.
So, just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So for local, I compared to being gay. You know, I can put being gay on my shoulder sometime and it's hurting and it'll stop.
Right.
Okay. So it's the same sort of topical deal. Okay. This topical that you happen to be talking about, I've got a friend that I met when I was getting my master's degree, and he's just a science guru. I mean, his cat born sciencey. I might have shared this with you, but he said he came up to visit me. We were actually going over to Cannabis for the Capitol. Okay. And he comes up and he stays with me before we drive to Tallahassee. He said, I brought you a gift. Like, what do you got? I'm old, right? I got arthritis in my neck. I got carpal tunnel in my hand right here, right? And I was like, putting it on, and I was like, Evan, man, dude, what you doing here? And he goes, what do you mean what I'm doing? I said, bro, you know how good this stuff is? And I bought topicals at dispensaries all the time, okay? Because I knew that they worked, right? They don't absorb into the skin. They don't get you stoned. Okay.
That's
just
a
pure
older people think.
That's what you're thinking. Absolutely. Okay. So anyway, Evan, I said, Evan, what are you doing here? He goes, yeah, I made this in my garage. Just a great kid, right? I'm like, dude, all right, here's what we're going to do. Okay. We're going to bottle this stuff and sell it.
Right.
Which is what we've done.
And it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's something.
Thank you for the feedback.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, that ain't me. That's me mentoring a young man who's a brilliant scientist without a lot of business experience.
Okay. Well,
that's it.
I wanted you to explain cannabinoid, what you would with one.
Oh, okay. Science.
The science.
Okay. I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna hit it real
ahead.
fast.
Yeah,
okay?
Go ahead.
And folks, first of all, you can teach your doctors this stuff. Okay. They have not been taught this. They don't teach it in medical school. They're talking about teaching it and just starting to enter. And some doctors, because they got patients coming in that are, this stuff's working, they're going and doing their own research. I mean, a doctor is capable of learning everything that I know about cannabis because they know how to read research.
Right.
That's the bottom line. Okay. So the endocannabinoid system, what it is our immune system. It wasn't discovered in science until 1989. Mm-hmm. But if you don't get anything else about anything I say, the endocannabinoid system is like a thumbprint. Every one of us were born with an endocannabinoid system. Everyone's is unique to us, right? So when your friend says, man, this one here gonna get you, look at him and say, bro, you don't even know my endocannabinoid system. What you talking about? Everybody's journey is themselves.
Right.
That's what, you don't get nothing else.
Right.
Everybody's cannabis journey to health. Now, our body naturally produces cannabinoids. Now, little safety feature. It ain't our endocannabinoid system is not fully developed until we're 25 years old.
Right.
So you young kids doing that high concentrate stuff, watch yourself. Because science ain't got to the point yet. Science ain't got to the point yet where we know you might get my age and you can't use cannabis when you need it, right? Because you done ruined your endocannabinoid system at a young age when it wasn't developed yet. Follow me? So I'm just telling you, young folks, this is a warning to you all. Watch yourself. You ain't got to be doing dabs and all that stuff. Okay, so your endocannabinoid, that's what puts our body in homeostasis. It gets us back to natural. That's the need for cannabinoid therapy. Nobody knows this.
Science.
Until 2019 was 2021 was the first graduating class of the first master's program. This is all brand new, folks. So you can't be mad at folks for not knowing it. Right. But now that we do know it, we need to start teaching it.
Right.
We need to start teaching.
Right. And we're gonna start here. Endless topics. You heard it here. We are teaching endocannabinoid systems. If you don't know, that is your body. Everybody has their own endocannabinoid system. So in translation, what he is saying is you don't know, your person don't know. You can go to the in the lab and get a 31%, 29%, but you don't know what it's going to do to you because it can do something to him more than it's going to do to me. Right. It can do something less to him than it's going to do to me. Yeah. So everybody's is different, and that's how I.
And we won't get into it, okay? But what I do is like
this is going to be a series,
okay?
So because we got a lot to talk about, especially with the endocannabinoid system.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
Yeah, but no, this has been lovely to sit here with a person with so much knowledge because. I didn't smoke for a while, but I didn't have knowledge of everything and I'm getting older. As you get older, you basically want to know what's going in your body because as you get older, certain things that you can't put in your body.
Right. And your endocannabinoid system doesn't work as well as it did.
Right.
Okay. When we were young, that's why when we was young stuff, we bounced back in 2 days, right?
Right.
And now when we get old, we don't bounce back because our endocannabinoid system ain't working like it used to. That's why with cannabis therapy, you can hone in your own personal endocannabinoid system on what works best for you.
So endocannabinoid system has nothing to do with THC.
It has to do, yes, THC does filter through your endocannabinoid system and it's CB1 receptors, things such as that. I won't get into
what I'm thinking is your endocannabinoid system is your body.
Yes. But there's also minor cannabinoids nobody's heard about, like CBG. CBG, non-psychoactive. Okay, I'm going to go too science, but it's non-psychoactive. It will not get you stoned. Cannabigerol, CBG. Cannabigerol, they did the first human study. It's really hard to do a human study with because you got to have a control group and a non. Well, guess what? If you're high or not. Who got the THC. Who did. When you got a non-psychoactive cannabinoid like CBG, you can do a human experiment, and they did. And 86% of patients got relief from anxiety with only 20 milligrams of CBG. That's it. and they don't sell it in one dispensary in the state of Florida. You think they care about your health? They care about getting your kids high, okay, making sure they keep people arrested.
Right.
They don't care about your health.
And that's what we got to talk about.
Right.
We got to talk about the health part, the decriminalization part,
right,
and the part that is best for you. We gonna stop it right there.
Thank you for listening to that.
This is the first part of the series with Daniel Locke and learning the endocannabinoid systems and things that can help you when you smoke or things that can hurt you when you smoke. So we want to learn the ins, the outs, the do's and the don'ts. You know, if you are a advocate marijuana user or a person who uses topicals or any type of marijuana to cure any type of cancer, any type of disease that you have or any type of sickness that you have. And so we're going to be learning more with Daniel.
Thank you,
and
sir.
You're going to be back, correct?
Please, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'd be honored. Okay?
Yeah, no.
Keep this in mind. It don't cost you no money to pick up the phone and call my office and get me and get science. No money.
Tell them what
you don't need to call.
Tell them where they can call you from. Give them your number and where.
The best way to find me is I have another 420medcard.com. It points to my website.
Okay.
But 420medcard.com.
Okay.
Look up 420. And if you want to know any cannabis science, and I'll tell you what I don't know, because there's a lot we don't know yet. A lot. There's more we don't know than we do
know. Okay.
But I'm so blessed and honored that you
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. We're going to be back and we're going to talk some more. Thanks for coming and thanks for listening. And we will be back with the second part of Daniel Locke and learning how to find your cannabinoid system.